Hey, what's up guys? I'm PTC. It looks like Blizzard is going to be making some major changes to Symmetra. Now, I have no idea what Blizzard plans to do. Yeah, there was some leaked audio from the PTR where Symmetra talks about having more charges, probably for her teleporter. But from an interview Jeff Kaplan gave, I don't think that that's what they're going to do. At least I hope not. I think they're going to be doing a lot more changes to her overall design, rather than just saying, yeah, we're going to give you an extra couple charges on your teleporter. So for this video, I want to talk about the character, why it's not really working, and just for the heck of it, come up with some brand new ultimates. You know what? The ultimates may not be balanced. They may not even work. But I thought it would be cool and fun to kind of mess around. I mean, hey, we don't know what they're going to do for a while, so why not come up with some stuff and just have some fun with it, right? All right, so before all that, let's go over what Blizzard said about the character and why it's kind of not working. So in a recent interview, Jeff Kaplan said they're looking at Symmetra, but that we probably won't see any changes until sometime in November. This is likely because they're going to do something a little bit more drastic than just, changing around some numbers. He said that Symmetra is one of the least played heroes and that she's very situational, perhaps a little bit too situational. She's only played in a very small number of situations, and they'd like to do something to change that. I've been saying for a while that Symmetra is in dire need of some pretty significant changes. The problem with the character is she goes from being fairly decent in a small number of situations to completely useless in everything else. The only place where Symmetra is even somewhat viable is on defense, on the first point in an assault or a payload map, and that's it. Everywhere else, Symmetra is completely useless. On King of the Hill, she's useless. On any attacking team, she's useless. And anything beyond the first point of the assault or payload maps for defense, she's also useless. And even in the situations where she's somewhat viable, one of the other supports is almost always going to be a better pick. Now, there are going to be people that say, hey, my brother's, neighbor's, friend's, cousin's roommate uses Symmetra on attack, and he still wins matches, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, whatever. Look, she is the least played character in the game. For a reason. She is almost never picked in the higher skilled games. For a reason. And in tournament play, she has been almost completely phased out in favor of other supports. For a reason. Symmetra is not a good character as she is currently designed. A lot of people don't understand why Symmetra is so bad, and there are 100 different reasons, but I'm only going to go over the biggest one, because that's the one that really shuts down her usefulness. And in order to understand that, you have to understand what the best way to play the game is. So the best way to capture an objective is to have all 6 of your team push at the same time. And because of this, the best way to defend an objective is to have all 6 of your team on or near the point. The worst way to attack or defend a point is to trickle in 1 or 2 at a time. And I'm sure you've seen this 1,000 times in your games where 1 or 2 of your team goes in and dies, followed by 1 or 2 others who go in and die. And the cycle just keeps repeating over and over and over. All of the other supports synergize with the group push. Lucio and Zenyatta keep everybody alive. Mercy can res the whole team if they die, and even Ana can make one person supercharged to absorb a lot more damage, thereby keeping more of your team alive. But Symmetra's teleport doesn't support the group push. Instead, it encourages trickling in 1 at a time. Also, the teleporter is loud. It's easy to find and it's easy to destroy. It very rarely uses all of its charges. In fact, quite often, it will be destroyed before it's used even once. So how can we fix Symmetra? Well, I don't think that simply messing with some numbers is going to fix the problem. I think it's going to take drastically changing some of her abilities. It's been suggested that maybe her turrets can have an alternate mode that heals instead of doing damage, or maybe she can drop health packs. But I don't think that is really going to solve the main problem she has. The biggest problem she has is with her teleport and how it encourages the worst tactics for capturing or defending a point, namely trickling in one at a time. I think Symmetra should keep her teleport, but it should be moved to a regular ability. And because of this, it's obviously going to need to be rebalanced. Maybe if it's on a 12 to 15 second cooldown and is only capable of teleporting 1 or 2 people, this would allow Symmetra to move around a lot more and not have to worry about babysitting the teleporter. So if the teleporter isn't her ultimate anymore, what could she have instead? Well, if you look at the character design, Symmetra is able to create things out of hard light, and she is also obsessed with perfection. So that gives us a couple of options. Alright, so now that I've talked about all that, let's get on to some of the fun stuff. Let's create some new ultimates for Symmetra. So the first one I came up with for a replacement ultimate was kind of like an EMP, a big disable. Symmetra would hit a large area and enemies affected would get a debuff that prevents them from using any special abilities. They would be locked out of all of their special abilities. In addition to this, maybe reduce their damage dealt by about 25% as well. Now, they can still move, they can still shoot, but for about 6 to 8 seconds, they wouldn't be able to use any special abilities of any kind, and they would deal slightly less damage. The other supports keep their team alive by buffing them or healing them. With this ultimate, Symmetra would keep her team alive by reducing the damage that the enemies are capable of doing. Alright, so that was my first ultimate idea. The next one is something more along the lines of the teleporter, if we're going to keep going with that theme. Remember how I said Symmetra is all about building things, order, and perfection? Well, what if Symmetra had something that was sort of like a resurrect, but not quite? So my idea for the second ultimate would be using Symmetra building capabilities to recreate her fallen teammates. Okay, so the second ultimate option I think is a little more in line with what a support ultimate should be. If you look at the other support ultimates, they buff, they heal, they protect, they resurrect, that sort of thing. I think that this option that I'm about to describe kind of follows that same path. So here's how it works. When Symmetra uses her ultimate, she would create a kind of non-targetable portal at her current location. And then all of her teammates would get some sort of visual indicator surrounding them, basically just to let the enemy know that, hey, Symmetra used her ultimate. For the next, let's say, 8 to 10 seconds, any teammate that dies will instantly respawn at the portal location. It's possible that they could get a minor buff of some sort. The idea is that Symmetra scans her teammates, and if they die during that 8 to 10 second window, she creates a better version of them. This also kind of goes along with that whole freedom is an illusion thing that Symmetra has going. With Mercy, you have to wait until everybody dies. This usually means that you have to stay really far back or even like hide around a corner. With Symmetra, she wouldn't have to do that. She could just drop her portal right on the objective and then get into the fight. And as her teammates die, they will instantly respawn at the portal. Now, for balance purposes, you can make it so that each person can only be resurrected one time using this method. So what I really like about this ultimate idea is it creates a really cool and interesting battle dynamic where you have to make a choice. Do you kill them, or do you wait until the buff is out? Because the thing is with Mercy, you kill a target, and yeah, it might get resurrected, but it can't do any damage to you before that happens. With Symmetra's ultimate, you have to decide, am I going to kill this target? Because if I do, it instantly gets resurrected. Or I could just weaken it, and then wait out the buff, and then kill it, where it won't instantly respawn. But the thing is while you're waiting for that buff to run out and not killing that target can still do damage to you. So it creates a really cool scenario where you have to decide, is it worth it to kill this target immediately twice or to wait out the buff? I think that's pretty cool. But anyways, those are the ultimates that I came up with. Let me know what some of your ideas are in the comment section below. But that is going to be about it for this video. Thank you for watching. Hope you enjoyed it. If you did, make sure you hit that like button, share with your friends, and subscribe if you're new. There's lots more Overwatch on the channel. Remember, always blame the controller, because it's never your fault.